What's good? You are listening to Daniel and Gian talk shit. I am Gian.
And I'm Daniel.
So, the fight of the year happened last night. The fight that, I don't know when the number's going to come out, but the fight that paled in comparison to Mayweather-McGregor fight in terms of numbers.
When are they going to release the number? They're not going to release them, not this quickly yet.
No, it usually takes, they'll have like a preliminary number within the
I'll look it up
days.
right now. But go ahead, keep talking.
And then in like 2 or 3 weeks, like within a month, I think they have all of them because I think they count the replays as well. Like people buy the pay-per-view after it happens sometimes,
right?
Which is stupid, but
well, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I was
that's true.
After the Mayweather fight, they were advertising UFC 214, and it happened like 2 or 3 weeks earlier or something like that, or maybe it was just the week before. I don't know. All I know it was 99 cents.
Yeah, they do that. Like they don't put it on Fight Pass until like a month later.
Right. It was 99 cents. And I'm like, you know what? If I never saw it and I had nothing else to do, I'd spend 99 cents on it.
It's like really hard for me to watch live sporting events when I know the result.
Oh, well, see, that's the thing.
Yeah, like
I'm assuming you've never seen it.
Yeah.
Like you don't know the results or whatever. Because like I seriously debated watching this fight today, or
right,
through other means,
right,
and
no, that's fine. I mean, if you had the time to do it, like that's cool.
Well, I was
too.
just busy with work,
yeah,
so I was like, you know what, I'll just stay off. So if I stay off social media, there's no way I'm gonna find out the results.
Yeah, it's just hard to stay off social media because you're socially conditioned now to.
It is. I mean, I'm on my phone right now. I'm reading to see if they released any sort of numbers, but they haven't. They did. I didn't know Canelo earned $5 million, and Triple G earned $3 million. That I know.
Those are small. I mean, those are small purses in context. So that means they were expecting it to be a low ordered pay per view.
So let's see. How much did Chavez make? It was like $1 million, right? Or no, it was a little bit more than $1 million.
No, it was a little more. I think Canelo and Chavez made more that last fight than this fight.
I was gonna say because.
I'm sure they planned it. Part of it had to do with with Maymac. That was part of it. And then, it's just Triple G is not a household name. Unlike some people on YouTube think, some of the comments we got, or like one comment in specific, Triple G is not a household name. I could walk up to like 100 people and maybe 5 of them, and that's being generous, 5 of them would know who Triple G is.
Are you talking about if you like 5 random or 5 non-boxing people?
Like 5 non-boxing people. Like if you know boxing, you know Triple G. But if you're just like I go to my uncle's house when he orders pay-per-views because it's a party, you don't know who Triple G is. Everybody knows who Mayweather is.
Well, they're gonna know who he is now.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, they're gonna. I mean, it's all over the headlines at least for the next few days. So you've heard of his name now.
We'll see. But the decision was like.
Well, we'll get into that. I mean, I think we talk about the fight first,
right,
before we get into the controversy of the. Let's talk about the undercard actually.
Did you watch the undercard? I watched the USC game instead of the undercard.
All right. Well, then never mind. We won't talk about the undercard.
I mean, I looked at the undercard and just by the names on the undercard, I knew it was trash.
Boxing has the worst undercards, I feel like, for any pay-per-view. I did like the. I shouldn't say I liked the Mayweather-McGregor, but I felt like. It was a little more. There was a little more effort being put into that undercard.
The Mayweather-McGregor had a purpose. It was his stable of fighters,
right?
Mayweather's stable of fighters, and he was trying to get them some publicity. He was trying to pump them up,
exactly.
Which is fine. This undercard for De La Hoya, I never heard of any of these guys. Some of them, I feel like Some of them feel like they were old too. It just seemed like
they were young. I mean,
were they young?
I mean, I to be honest, I didn't watch them all, so I can't really comment.
I mean, all the names I saw,
De La Hoya fight.
I looked at so he put his fucking nephew or something on it, whoever he is. But I saw the names, and they're nobody. Like I read plenty of boxing blogs. I read, the ESPN scorecard every Sunday just to see like who's winning and what. No, I've never heard of any of those names before. They're all they're either guys just starting in their career or they're guys that are like kind of.
There were 4. I think there was 5 fights total, and then 4 on the undercard. I saw 2 of them, and the 2 that I saw were unanimously one-sided.
Right.
I mean, literally, all the judges were like 100% just one fighter over the other.
Right.
And if that's the case, they're not interesting fights.
No.
I mean, we could talk about the main fight. This fight because the main fight wasn't one-sided, but we got a one-sided judging decision, which I said we'll get to that.
We'll get to that, but no, the undercard for me was underwhelming. It
it's not like UFC.
No, definitely not. Well, the UFC.
It's about fighting, man.
Yeah, but I feel like boxing still thinks they can get away with just the one headliner, which is, I mean,
they obviously are getting away with it.
We're getting tuned into it, but we'll see how the numbers on this card do to see if that works because at this point in time, Canelo's last fight was terrible.
That was because of his opponent, though.
No, it was not his opponent's fault. That was because of him fucking draining his opponent.
Sure. Okay. Fine. Fine. That's management. Sure. Yeah. Then if he's a part of management, which I know he probably has a say in it, I'm not saying he is the management because he's not the main guy. I mean, he's still a little bitch.
If I want to talk shit, I mean, it wasn't his idea. Obviously, it was all the promoters' ideas. If I want to talk shit about Canelo, one of the main things is he's like went out and talked shit about Mayweather and how he does things. And then his last few fights, he's done the exact same thing. Find guys, weight drain them, make it as difficult as possible for them to fight him. This time he couldn't really get away with it.
I was gonna say,
but
Triple G wasn't. They didn't get that treatment this time.
No, it wouldn't have worked either because Triple G can fight at 154 too.
Because he's a fighter.
Yeah,
he's a savage.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's not a big guy, so
right.
He's a guy that can fluctuate between those two weight classes if he wants to.
Canelo's a big guy.
Yeah,
you can tell he's big.
Yeah, he eats a lot of tortillas.
Side question, sidebar for a second. Who do you think would win in a fight between Canelo and McGregor?
Like no
boxing.
A boxing?
And let's say we gave McGregor adequate time to train this time.
Nah, I think Canelo, yeah, because Canelo's just younger.
Because I thought the opening rounds Canelo looked good. I also thought Triple G was like really awkward. Mm-hmm. Like I almost felt like he was having a panic attack. Like he just looked flustered in a weird way. I was gonna text you. It's funny that I didn't because ironically. I was like, is it just me or does it look like Triple G is just playing with Canelo? Like he's just letting him like drain himself out. And then as soon as I was about to text you that, Triple G like turned it on.
Yeah, he turned it on. No, it was just, let's just talk about the fight. So I thought the first round, they were kind of feeling each other out. I gave the first round to Triple G. And then the second and third round was when he looked really...
He looked bad.
Like he looked like, and I was like, whoa, maybe he has lost a step.
Because everyone was saying that, yeah, his last fight wasn't as good. Yeah. He might be getting older.
And I was like, oh shit, Canelo's gonna fucking
knock him out,
gonna dominate this guy. So I gave the second and third rounds to Canelo, but then the fourth round came around, and then it just completely changed. Like Triple G downloaded Canelo's entire fucking schematics, and
there was a moment, not to cut you off. There was a moment when his boxing coach or whoever the one who's talking to him.
His trainer.
Sorry. It showed Canelo first, and Canelo and his trainer was saying like, you're gonna do this dodge left and do the uppercut or whatever. Yeah. And then it cut to the other side, and the trainer was like, he's gonna do this and throw an uppercut and do this. I mean, literally within those few seconds, right. The other trainer already knew what Canelo wanted to do.
Yeah.
And just from that alone, I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad news for him. He's gonna get knocked out. Like as soon as I heard that, I'm like, he might get knocked out.
Right.
He didn't, and that's the one thing I will say throughout the fight. There was no, intense power punches. I feel like both people kind of got rocked for a little bit to different degrees. I think Canelo got more damage, but in terms of like those highlight reel moments, I don't really think there was any.
If Triple G has lost anything, just judging from this fight, I think he's lost a little bit of sting on his punches because you could tell the punches weren't hard, that the punches he was landing, and part of that might have just been Canelo's. I got to give it up to Canelo. I've never been a fan of his, but his head movement, his upper body movement
is fast.
Is a lot. He's elusive. I don't want to say he's fast, but he's elusive. So I got to give it up to him though. Like he looked really good, moving his head, which was making it tougher for Triple G to land some of those punches. So Triple G kind of turned into a volume puncher, like just hitting them wherever he could, and then sliding punches in.
He wasn't getting tired though.
No, he wasn't. No, that guy's a machine.
The stamina level on Triple G was just unparalleled.
Yeah, he's like, a machine.
It made me feel so bad that how do I say this? Basically, that him and McGregor never fought. I mean, excuse me, Mayweather.
Right. It would have been an interesting fight
because just watching how he performed against Canelo last night, I'm not saying Canelo's a GOAT or anything like that. I would love to see them in the ring. I'd actually love to see him in the ring right now. I mean, I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised because everyone says Mayweather's retired, but I would pay to see that fight.
Yeah.
Mayweather wouldn't risk it because he probably, actually probably be a really tough fight for him.
Well, yeah, especially because you saw him take punishment. He took punches from McGregor. He was taking punches he normally wouldn't take. And there's people trying to theorize, he was just doing it to tire himself out.
No.
His name was Pretty Boy Floyd at the beginning of his career because he did not like getting hit, and he did everything to make sure you didn't hit him.
Right.
Why all of a sudden in his last fight, he's going to let some dude punch him?
No, absolutely not. And because I legitimately believe, and we didn't really talk about it, and we're not going to turn this into a Mayweather-McGregor talk discussion, but I genuinely believe that when I keep messing their names up. When Conor said I turned him into a Mexican, I legitimately believe that's what happened in that fight. I think Floyd went in to fight him like he fought everyone else. And then because he was like getting hit and it was a little weird for him, he's like, okay, the only way I can beat this guy is by doing this stuff.
Right.
That's the fighter mentality. Like that's his smarts right there.
Right.
Because he can just turn it on and say, you know what? This style might not work because the judges might see X, Y, and Z, and then he's going to get tired or
and
whatever.
He also knows that he's not as quick as he used to be. He doesn't have the same reflexes.
So I feel like he was
time.
He was pushed into that fighting style, just like Conor said.
I think so. Absolutely.
So to see Floyd versus Triple G would have been an interesting little thing because you don't know.
Now talking about fighting like a Mexican, that's something that disappointed me about this fight was that
Canelo's lack of fighting like a Mexican.
Canelo was not. Canelo was doing something that I've seen Miguel Cotto do for a long time, where he'll land a couple punches and then he'll like back up and kind of trail away. And the reason why the reason why Cotto does it is because he's always been a smaller guy, and it just kind of gives him time to get out of the reach of people's punches, And the difference is that Canelo's got pillow hands, like I like to say. So because he has no snap on his punches, it doesn't really work.
Right.
He's a slap puncher, and I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch his older fights, but I do not remember him ever fighting like that, where he'd throw a couple punches and then start running backwards.
I mean, there were moments where, like when I think it was like 2 or 3 times where I feel like Canelo actually got rocked, but he just started fighting back. That's his way of recovering is by like expelling all the energy right there and just keep throwing punches. Because I mean, in a weird way, it is a smart way to defend yourself because you can't necessarily get punched if you're just laying it on someone.
Right.
But it obviously opens you up to a billion different other things.
Right. But Triple G's not really a counterpuncher either. That's the thing. So it works against guys like Triple G, but against another counterpuncher,
it's not going to be as smart.
And then, there's times like there's a telltale sign for all you like casual boxing fans or non-boxing fans. The second a guy shakes his head and tells you it didn't hurt, it means it hurt. And he did it several times.
But that does mean then that Triple G got a few shots into him because he was doing that too. Not as much as Canelo, but he was doing that too.
Well, Triple G was doing more like, come on, let's go.
He was doing like the first 2 rounds he was doing that shit.
You mean the second and third round? Because Canelo didn't land anything of
the first
significance
few rounds.
in the first
I don't know which round.
Well, and here's how I scored it.
I also don't score fights because I'm not I don't understand. Like when people throw out scores, not to interrupt you, and I'm not saying you're this person, but I've seen on Facebook two things this fight made me realize. One is the amount of friends that posted about the fight were so little that it made me realize why no one on my friends list likes anything I do or anything, because they're probably not even really my friends. Just because like we don't have similar interests. Like it's no wonder why I don't get any feedback or anything.
Yeah.
Add in my personality, add in all the other shit. Because,
I was gonna say that part.
But the other thing it made me realize is the people who were posting about it, I feel like they were almost as crazy as the judge who judged it 118 to 110. But anyway, that was a little sidebar. What were we gonna say?
So
how did you score?
So I just scored by who looked more effective in that specific round.
Right.
So I gave Triple G the first round. That one could have gone either way. That was a close round, but I thought Triple G because he was the aggressor. Second and third round was completely Canelo. Like there's no argument.
No debate.
No debate at all. From the 4th round to the 9th round, it was all Triple G.
I would have. I mean, there were moments where Canelo had little expelled.
But he spent
energy.
He spent 90% of those rounds
on the ropes
in the corner, getting hit. You know?
I agree,
and not doing the way Floyd does either. He was there because he got
pushed there. He got forced there.
And it turns. I mean, that's the one thing that a lot of people say about Canelo is he got bad footwork, and that was the proof of it right there. His bad footwork plus Triple G's ability to cut off the ring.
Oh, he was cutting it off left and right.
Ended forcing him in the corner and taking abuse. Then when we got to the 10th round, and this was like, it's very few times you ever hear a trainer tell their fighter the truth, but
the trainer said, man,
Canelo's trainer told him,
fight for your life these next
you got to
3.
come out because, he's letting them know. So he knew they were losing that fight. And that's where, so at this point, we got 6 rounds to 2. 6 rounds to 2. Or was that 6 rounds to 3? 6 rounds to 3. No.
To 2.
7 to 2.
Okay.
So that's me.
Round,
7 to 2. That means Canelo won the fight. Or not Canelo. Triple G won the fight. So he didn't have to win the last 3 rounds.
By majority.
Yeah. But the last 3 rounds of the fight, that's where it gets a little debatable. I think I gave Triple G the 10th round. I gave Canelo the 12th round for sure. I think Canelo completely won the last round of the fight. The 11th round is the one where it could go either way.
Well, even if you gave Canelo all 3 rounds.
Yeah, it would have been, if I was a judge, it would have been 7-5 Triple G if you gave him the last 3 rounds. But let's just say, I think he won 8-4. That's what I say for my fight card. Triple G won 8-4. So when the draw was announced, right when we had a split decision, like the first 2 judges were different, I was like, oh shit,
here we go,
something's up. And a lot of people were saying because this was a Golden Boy production, because this is De La Hoya's like main fighter, there was no way Triple G was going to win this fight if it went to decision. And sure enough, he did not win the fight.
See, so let me ask you that. I want to talk about that specifically. How much do you think that it was like some bribery went on, like something like for reals? Like let's cut the bullshit. Like, do you really think that De La Hoya through back channels paid the judge who did 118? Like for reals? Like let's not fucking do speculation in regards to like, oh, they probably saw the fight this way. Like, do you think some dirty shit went on?
I don't think dirty shit went on that way where money passed hands or anything like that.
Right.
But I feel like there's definitely some influence involved in some way or another.
Because of like the environment or
just indirect
like,
influencing, you know what I mean?
Like what? Give me an example.
Like, let's just say, De La Hoya makes an offhand comment about you never working one of his fights again, stuff like that, which he doesn't really.
So for me who doesn't understand, maybe you can explain this. How do you get on a match? Who puts the judges on the match?
So
is it the commission?
The Nevada State Athletic Commission is the one who picks the judges.
Is it like a jury selection where you can be like, I don't like this guy. He judges Mexicans unfairly.
And I'm not 100% sure about this either, but I feel like it's more along the lines of you can protest a judge and say, I don't want this judge here. So it kind of is like a jury selection. And whatever promoter is running it has more
say so, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, because there's been times with the UFC where the judge makes a stupid fucking decision, and Dana White loses his shit. So there's only so much you can do, but I'm sure there's definitely
ways. A less degree on the MMA.
Yeah, no, the boxing
100%.
Boxing definitely has more control over Vegas. And I mean, I can't get into details. Obviously, this is me all speculating, but I'm pretty sure there's hometown cooking. If you fight another fighter in his hometown,
that was the Manny Pacquiao fight in Australia.
Exactly. Well, you think so? I didn't watch that fight, but I've read a lot of people saying that decision wasn't as bad as people said it was.
Let me put it this way, real quick in summary. Okay, you know how you felt that Triple G was dominating the whole fight, but there was still a fight going on. Like we can't. There's no debate that Canelo. I feel like he lost the fight, but he was still put up a fight.
Yeah.
Regardless of like how it wasn't. It was a dominating performance, but not in a way where you felt
it wasn't a beating. It wasn't a one-sided beating.
Well, the Manny Pacquiao fight was similar to that, but he put a beating on as the fight went on, to the point where the referee literally told the other guy, "Hey, I'm going to stop this fight if you don't show me anything in this next round."
Right.
Literally, he went over to the corner and told him that. You can't go to that point and then like, you know what I mean?
Well, that kind of goes back to, though,
and then have a huge like 118 to 110 scorecard.
That goes back to how many rounds did the guy win before they got to that point as well.
I understand that,
because it's a 12-round fight. I mean, that's what
I'm saying. It was a fight, but it wasn't like.
That's what makes it a sport and not really a fight, because you get judged by round instead of by
Right.
accumulation of damage at the end of the fight, which is probably, most people would want it that way. Like people that are really into actual violence they'd rather judge a fight by
who's closer to death.
Yeah, who's closer to death at the end of the fight. That's a good way of putting it.
It's just a feeling too. I mean, just as a spectator, so you just feel like that there's influence potentially by like you might not work one of my fights again.
Just different things. You could get, how easy it is to get blackballed in these things.
I understand.
Like
there's that person who did 118, 110 probably got blackballed now.
For whatever reason, I mean, she should have been blackballed because she's fucking blind as a goddamn bat. Triple G only won 2 of those fucking rounds. Adelaide Bird.
That's crazy.
And the funny thing is, somehow she must have fucking naked pictures of people because she's like notorious for having terrible decisions. She's been in so many fights and MMA as well. MMA, she's like one of the most hated judges out there.
I've never even heard of this person.
And her fucking husband is a ref.
Is what's her name? Do you know?
Adelaide Bird.
I'll look her up. Keep talking.
Yeah. She's like probably the most unpopular judge. Like everyone thinks that she's fucking half dead and blind because of how bad her scorecards always are. Because I just don't see, on output alone, like those middle rounds, Canelo did not throw any punches.
Like I said, he had little bursts, but it was nowhere near the amount of jabs that Triple G was throwing.
Just volume, and I mean the numbers at the end. I think he landed one more power punch.
Well, I was going to say, if you look at the numbers, I'm going to Google the numbers, but Canelo actually was more accurate. He didn't throw as much.
He's more accurate throwing power punches, but he also he didn't land any jabs, and Triple G was dominating with the jab. So he landed 100 some odd more total punches.
Exactly.
And like I said, when it comes to jabs and power punches, like if you throw, let's say you land 75 power punches to the other guy's 25, but he landed 80 jabs,
right?
Then I'm going to give the power punches more credence because the jab is, it's basically just throwing your hand out there trying to, it's a short, quick punch. You just didn't have any power behind it, and it's just really to open up your other punch, your power punches.
So it says Golovkin, who retained his third, blah, 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 branded Bird scorecard terrible, unbelievable after landing 218 punches to Canelo's 169. This is not good for the sport of boxing, he added. Bob Bennett, the executive director of the Nevada Athletic Commission, defended his officials after the bout, but said that Judge Bird will be asked to take a small break, quote unquote, from major fights. I'm not going to put her back in. She'll still be in the business, but she needs to catch her breath.
No, there you go.
Bennett said Bird would be asked to explain her scoring in an inquiry, and that the Nevada State Commission would go through the rounds on replay with the judge and would be asked to explain her thinking. Like in any profession, you have a bad night, Bennett said. Unfortunately, she didn't do well. I can tell you that she conducts training for us, takes judges under her wing, but her score was too wide.
And see, that smells like them like hinting to corruption,
because they're going to investigate it thoroughly, round by round.
Well, nothing's going to happen to her, but I think that raises eyebrows. Had she, let's say she was paid and had she scored it 114, people would have been upset, but nobody would have batted an eye. But when
I wouldn't have.
But when you do 118, 110, you're really like,
the guy who did 114, I was like, okay. Like, I still think Triple G won the fight, but I'm like, you know what? That's okay. But when you have 118, if it was 118, 110 to in Triple G's favor, I wouldn't have said shit.
Right.
But to put it in Canelo's favor, it's like, were you not watching the same fight? That's that's what I don't get. Where it's like, yes, Canelo landed punches. Yes, Canelo did put pressure on him in certain moments of the fight throughout those dominant rounds that Triple G. Like there were moments. You can't deny it. But a round is 3 minutes long.
Well, had she even said 7-5, had she even said
made it closer?
Yeah, then I would have been like
those other two judges. I had no problem with their scores, genuinely, because the fight was close enough to where there wasn't a clear 100% winner in my eyes in regards to like dominance. Right? It was close enough to where a rematch could be sanctioned. Because you're going to see is Canelo going to learn from his mistakes? Is he going to analyze the footage where Triple G was putting it on him and maybe do something different, maybe approach the fight differently? Like I'd pay to see that. But
I mean, I feel like you still could have had a rematch even if he lost the fight.
Exactly. That's my point. It was enough. It was close enough to where a rematch is warranted. But you're not going to want a rematch of like, I don't know, when Canelo lost to Floyd.
Right.
When Floyd beat Canelo, it was like
it was convincing.
You're done.
Yeah.
Like you're too young. You're not experienced enough, and you probably won't ever be experienced enough.
You ain't ready, baby.
Yeah, pretty much. But this fight, it's like I'd see it because at the other hand, the other side of the coin is. And I asked this on your sports recap show, what the fuck's next for boxing anyway? What do they have in terms of big fights to look forward to?
You know, I think this was the last one, at least for the year. You know,
definitely for the year.
Miguel Cotto wants to get into another fight, but I think he's done. Like he's just going to retire in December. And he said he wanted to fight the winner of this fight, but it's like, okay, you're only going to give him 3 months to get ready.
He hasn't fought. He fought Canelo. He hasn't fought Triple G though, right?
No, he hasn't fought Triple G. But
would he, based on Triple G's performance, obviously them fighting in 3 months would be stupid. It's not going to happen. But let's say they fought in a year. Do you think Cotto has it in him to beat Triple G based on what you just saw Triple G do? Because you watched his fight, Cotto's fight against the Japanese person.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Cotto. You know.
Or do you think it's time to hang up those gloves?
I feel it's time to hang it up, just because he fought a Japanese dude with a not as much skill,
right?
But just a concrete chin,
super concrete.
The guy wouldn't go down, but Triple G's on a different level. It's just not, why put yourself to potential like more damage than you've already taken for what, to make a little extra money. Like, I mean, maybe fighters never want to stop fighting, but
there's the alarm.
At some point, you gotta do what's best for you. And I mean, I don't know. I think he did good in his last fight, so now he's like, you know what? I think I got one good fight left in me, and I want to leave it.
That's when you should leave. That's when you should stop.
Or if you want to go out and just do a fight for your fans, go to New York, have a fight there against some fucking can,
and then just give it your all. For
knock the guy out in 5-6 rounds, and then
or get knocked out and start that guy's career.
Or get knocked out. That's who knows, man. No, let's get back to the fight from last night. Overall, I think it was a pretty good fight. It wasn't the fight of the year like I thought it was going to be. I put that completely on on Canelo,
100%.
Because he was not.
He wasn't being as aggressive as he has been known to be with other lesser fighters.
Exactly. He didn't. He was playing it safe. I don't want to say he completely played it safe, but he was definitely safe-ish. And I think it's still a good fight. Not worth $80. Definitely not worth $80.
But is any fucking boxing fight worth $80? Like, that's the thing, man. Like, with the undercards, they're fucking worthless. I mean, seriously, like, it's sad.
That's more of a recent thing though. Like the last couple years has been where it's like we're gonna build up the main event because the purse. It comes down to how big the purses are for the main event. The purse is so big for the main event that they don't have enough money to bring on more quality fighters for the undercard. That's the biggest issue. But I feel like there's fights that could be made out there. There was good fights like, Cotto Margarito won. That was an awesome fight, worth $80. Cotto Pacquiao was a good fight. You know what I mean? Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez.
A lot of Pacquiao fights.
Yeah, a lot of Pacquiao
fights
were worth it. Yeah, the fights. Every Marquez versus Pacquiao fight was fucking worth every single cent.
Marquez, and I thought he literally
killed. when I thought Pac-Man was dead. Yeah, that last time was brutal.
Literally, I mean,
Shane Mosley too. Some of Shane Mosley's fights, the Shane Mosley De La Hoya fights were good. There was battles out there that I feel like
they weren't $80 back in the day.
No, they weren't $80. They weren't $80. They were like $45 or $50. But still, if you'd have asked me $80 for those fights, I would have paid $80 for the fight. But anything with Floyd Mayweather's name on it, no, I don't want to pay.
So were you disappointed though by this fight?
I wasn't disappointed. No, I mean, I was a little disappointed, like just because Canelo didn't engage enough for me.
Would you have been okay? So how much of your disappointment or bad taste in your mouth is because of the decision as opposed to the fight?
The decision, not so much.
So if Triple G would have won by like a small margin, you would have been. It wouldn't have changed.
Yeah,
your
if he'd have won, I'd have been
fight.
like, yeah, it was a good fight. It wasn't a great fight, and I still would have made the same criticisms about Canelo because I put this all on Canelo. He. It's funny, like I can say that Triple G like commanded the ring, but in a sense he didn't, because Canelo was like able to get away from him.
He survived the whole time.
Yeah, but for those 6 rounds in between, the 6 rounds in between from the 4th round to the 9th round, Triple G dominated those rounds and he controlled the ring in those rounds. You know what I mean? So that was my.
Well, looking forward, how do you think the second fight will be? Like, how do you think it'll go down?
I wouldn't surprise me
if it does the same exact thing.
It would no. I think that'll change a little bit, but I would not be surprised if De La Hoya made Triple G wait so that he gets a little bit older again, which is what they did this time.
You mean like wait until September 16th again?
Yeah,
like same date,
just put
same
it down,
everything?
like put a whole year in between fights or something. Like just stretch it out as long as possible, because that's the shady part about boxing.
That's what cross-dressing people do.
That's what they do. I mean, that's just how boxing is. It's not like, that's the good thing about MMA and the UFC in general, is like you can't duck someone.
No, not with Dana White.
No,
because if you want to duck someone, you can duck someone, but not if you want a job, not if you want to keep making money.
Right.
Like, what's his name? Woodley. He's dodging people, and not in terms of like dodging them in terms of fighting them. He's dodging them in the ring. He's not putting up any fights.
Right.
And what is Dana White doing? Punishing him for it.
Absolutely.
He can't take the title from him because that's not fair. It really
but he
isn't.
can put him on the undercard. He can make him not a main event, so he'll make less money on the pay-per-view.
He can put him up against someone who he can build up other people to root against him, and because honestly, Woodley's fine in front of the camera. I don't have a problem with him.
No, he's a great interview.
When I'm talking about when he's doing commentary or he's doing the side shows or whatever. That's fine, but in the ring, man. But anyway, this is not going to turn into a UFC. So you don't think it's you think there's going to be a wait in the fight to make Triple G a little bit older?
I don't want to say. I just wouldn't be surprised. I would not.
So you don't. So you say that so Canelo will win, or that it'll be a closer fight so you can get a trilogy out of it?
I mean, they can do trilogy regardless, unless there's a knockout in the like a brutal knockout. But if it's another decision, another 12 rounds, and it goes Canelo's way, Triple G could try to get a third fight out of it. And if it's a good fight, people will pay for it. It wouldn't be the first time there was a trilogy, but I mean, there'll be a trilogy regardless, unless someone gets brutally knocked out.
Do you think both people's next fight will be against each other, or do you think there'll be another fight in between? Because Triple G's not linked to. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I could see Triple G fighting someone else. I would not be surprised if Canelo didn't fight for a year. That's just that's just how it is.
To train or to just
just strategizing.
Because he's young too. Yeah. That's the thing. He is young. Triple G doesn't have those years on him anymore. Or left anymore.
Triple G needs to fight. He needs to get all his shit done now, because he's probably only got a year or two left before things start falling apart.
So if Triple G fights again and gets knocked out, that fight's over.
That's done. Yeah. That's leverage right there, man. That's leverage. It's just how the sport works, man. That's the game. But I don't see any rush. We'll see how the numbers do as well. Like if the pay-per-view numbers on this fight weren't that great.
3 million buys, do you think?
Oh, that's a great pay-per-view if it's 3
No.
million buys.
Do you think that's what De La Hoya said it was going to get like months ago?
I mean, let's go back to your Facebook, man. How many people were posting about it?
Well, my friends are also on Facebook. Not
that's fine, but I had a handful of friends, like all my Hispanic friends, all my Latino friends were watching the fight. Nobody else was.
I literally had 2 or 3 people. I was going to screenshot and show them. Were like, I don't understand combat sports. I just wish no one would fight. This mindless violence is pointless. Because it's just weird. Like, what's wrong with boxing? What's wrong with MMA?
Well, people just think it's brutal. They're like, it's animalistic. It's gladiator shit.
But they're making the decisions to do it themselves.
Yeah, but people don't want to see it that way. They're commenting on society. Basically, if you like fighting, then you're like a lower intellect.
I don't like fighting. I like combat sports.
Right. Nah, bro, you are kind of ghetto, dude. You like them fucking YouTube fights and shit. You like
sure, but if a fight broke out in person,
you'd get scared and run away.
I'm going the other direction immediately.
But you like watching fucking bum fights.
No. I'll take a stand right there, because I remember when bum fighting was big, like on the internet before YouTube and shit. Like I don't even remember how you watched videos prior to YouTube.
Bro, you have stock options in WorldStar.
I fucking wish, dude. I wish I remember calling World like this is gonna be big because like everyone would just say just World Star was a big thing,
Right.
But yeah, Bum Fight. I believe that was a show called Bum Fights, and they would like fight over a sandwich and shit.
Yeah, I think it was the internet. I never watched the internet.
I wasn't into that. That's why I said I'll
that's where you draw the line.
I draw the line. But I did watch Kimbo fights. Kimbo
Slice, rest in peace.
Where he like punched some dude's eye out or some shit. Like that's why I was like, oh, he's gonna be in the UFC.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And that's what made me realize that like the people in the UFC are a whole different breed of animal.
Right.
Like Kimbo couldn't stand a second in there with any of these real people.
No,
and Kimbo could fuck up normal people.
Yeah.
There's
definitely.
no question about that, you know. But you put them in there with trained killers. I mean, they're not killers, but you know what I'm trying to say.
No, it was a different game, you know.
So it's just weird to me because we're not. It's like football. Football is just as violent, if not more violent, than the UFC, in my opinion.
But for whatever reason, when it doesn't involve your fists and your feet, people look at it differently, man.
Or blood.
Yeah.
Because you don't see the blood in football. Everything there's bleeding internally. I'm sure all the brain shit, whatever's going on, but you know you don't see it physically. You know.
I think the issue is it's like if there's one connection that we have to ancient humans, like even 2,000 years ago.
That's the best way to show you're better than someone is by kicking their ass.
Well, this is the connection though. Like these combat sports are like that still that spectacle. And I think it's that's just a part of being a human being, obviously. If they're popular then and they're still popular now,
then it's ingrained in
us. We like humans crave violence. They love the spectacle of violence.
But see, what bothers me about people who critique UFC for being too violent is not all fights are that way. I mean, jiu-jitsu's not violent. It's not.
Until you snap someone's limb, but
sure, but I mean, if you're you know,
I get what you're saying. Like it's
there's an art to like rolling around.
I mean, even
like
wrestling, like aside from
wrestling, exactly.
Yeah,
wrestling,
like you know, the only highlights people think of are people getting kicked in the face and stuff like that. Like
which are a part of the sport.
Yeah, or you know, like getting someone elbowing someone in the forehead and cutting them open, so the only picture they see is a dude leaking all over the
which is a part
mat.
of it.
You know, it is a part of it, but I feel like that's not. I'm not gonna lie. My favorite part about fighting is seeing someone get brutally knocked out. Like
100%.
You know,
because you seek it.
Yeah,
I wanted Canelo to get knocked out. I wanted to get Triple G to get knocked out. Either one of them.
Right.
Because it's exciting. The thing is, for me, I want there to be a fight first.
Yeah.
Like
no,
I don't want
if it happens in the first 30 seconds. That sucks.
I don't want it to be a Mike Tyson knockout.
Yeah.
If Mike Tyson fought Floyd Mayweather and he knocked him out in 30 seconds, then I'd be like, cool.
Right.
Because you want Floyd Mayweather to get knocked out at any point in the map.
Well, I've talked about this before. Like the reason why Mayweather's pay-per-views do so well is because people tune in hoping that he loses.
Yeah.
And that's why the last 3 that he had didn't do good because the fans,
the public knew, fighting chumps.
The public knew. Like people don't tune in to watch Floyd, you know.
They tuned in on this one though.
Well, they tuned in because a lot of people like
they're hoping
that maybe there's that awkwardness and you know Connor's power didn't show up that night.
No,
you know?
It did not, and the whole 8-ounce glove shit made no difference in anything.
Wouldn't have mattered.
I mean, but
stylistically, he just wasn't sitting down on his punches.
He just didn't have the experience.
Yeah,
the fighter IQ. It just was non-existent.
Definitely. So I don't know. But that's it. I think that's enough about the fight. Let's